Well, my friend, it is good to be with you once again. It's always a joy to be with you, Mike. And I'm excited to hear the updates on Space+5 and all the rad things that you're doing. It was nice to have everybody gather together a moment ago on our Twitter Spaces. Let me make us full screen. And my friend, for the sake of the NFT NYC community, please introduce yourself to me.
Ian, hi. Good to see you. Always a pleasure.
You too, my friend.
And I just remember the first time we met and you're zipping around on your one wheel all over the place. I'm like, whoever this guy is, he's got his priorities right.
That's right.
So
Got to float on the one wheel.
And you're solid too.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's a joy.
So my background is like right now, presently, I've been selected as commercial crew for Uplift Aerospace inaugural commercial crew Space+5.
Yeah.
With Ruben Salinas, Joe Melendez Meisner, Sydney Hamilton, and Trent Trash. In fact, the cool part about that is that there was a Web3 component to the application process, and we got to announce that we had been selected at NFT NYC, and that was a super big honor. And NFT NYC has just been a part of my present day success. Before I've been in Web3 since 2018 when I co-founded Crypto Titties, which is the first NFT project for social good. And that's the 30th project on the NFT blockchain supporting care initiatives for people with breast cancer.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
And yep. And then who knew that the future would happen and those things would be worth so much, but that's awesome. And then I wrote Astronaut Instruction Manual, best-selling children's book, being turned into a
you
TV
signed
series,
a copy
right?
for my boys, and they love that book, Mike. And I love the way you do your signature and your stamp. It is so creative. It is so you.
I receive. Thank you. Yeah. And yes, some of my best teachers absolutely are students. And I learned long ago I learned that if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, you don't know what you're talking about. If I can't explain it to a 5-year-old, I don't know what I'm talking about. And the people who taught me that are 5-year-olds.
Right.
Yes. And so it doesn't matter what it is. If we can't explain it to 5-year-olds, we don't know what we're talking about. And then in another lifetime, I did Obey with Shepard Fairey for almost 15 years. And
right.
And then that definitely influenced who I am as a creator.
For folks that are watching our conversation, thanks for your attention. We hope to see you April 12th through the 14th at NFT NYC. And Mike and I have shared several conversations like this in the past. And if you want some more lighthearted general info about Mike, maybe go back in the past, because I'm going to ask you, Mike, a couple questions that I've been thinking about this morning in regard to us meeting. You brought up Obey. So you did Obey with Shepard Fairey for 15 years.
Yeah.
My assumption is that when you guys started Obey, you could have never imagined it becoming an iconic cultural brand the way that's become. However, when you jumped into Space+5, you start the very, very starting moment has the highest expectations. So I would really like to hear your insights on the differences for you when you start something that's an idea and take it into what's become, in Obey's instance with Shepard Fairey, kind of a cultural movement of sorts, compared to jumping into something and from the very, very beginning, it already has that peak frenzy, excitement, and expectation that usually takes decades to get to. I'd love to hear insights on those two types of environments, since you are the co-founder of Obey, and of course, you're one of the folks that's part of Space+5.
This question rocks. There's a truth that I get to share as the answer. This is a textbook Ian utility question, and because the answer, I got goosebumps. The answer. Awesome. is essential to everything that we do. As long as we stick with it, I'm not caught up in outcomes. The only thing I pay attention to is, am I doing what I love with who I love and helping others?
Yeah.
Those three things. If it's only two, it's a strike. And I wouldn't have worked alongside Shepard. We wouldn't have done all the silk screening and all the stickering and go out and go onto the streets and do that whole thing every single day. And nobody grinds harder than I've ever met in my life than Shepard Fairey. Like working alongside him, it's like when you work alongside one of these superheroes who's irradiated, you get irradiated.
Right.
That's what happened. Like I've been genetically changed by working alongside. I'm gamma radiated now.
Right.
I'm Hulk-ish. And that's the whole thing is I got to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
The power of repetition, not of uniformity, of doing it, getting up and doing it again. And I didn't feel like doing it every single day, and we did it anyway.
Yeah.
And learning that lesson, that's Web3, that's space. When I started with space, I have a Medium post from years ago, how I went from graffiti artist to astronaut teacher, which I did for the past 15 years. And it was because after I did Obey, after we did all of that, I kind of got the opportunity to do whatever I wanted.
Right.
I created that for myself. And I want you to know, like, we lived on ramen for like a long time. We just worked. It wasn't about the lifestyle. It was about grinding and doing what we love with who we love and helping others. It was so fun. And the same thing is with space. The reason I started working in space is because after I kind of, by the time I got 42, I'm 58, I had done everything I ever wanted to do, Ian. Like I really did. There was only one thing left on my list, and that was astronaut. And at 42 in 2007, there was NASA and Roscoe Cosmos. And I was not, as a graffiti artist, I was not on the list.
Right.
So I made a deal with myself. And this is what I'm talking about at NFT NYC, partially. This is like I made a deal with who I was, who wanted to be an astronaut, that if I go forward in moving forward, if I give every student that I meet from here on out permission to imagine themselves living, working, and playing in space, like your son, then I'll be okay with myself.
Yeah.
And the past version of myself are like, okay, that's cool. Like it's a time thing. Like we were born here, and these students are born here, so they're going to be able to get on spaceships. And just because when I was born, so this is how I'm going to make best use of my time.
Yeah.
Who knew moving forward into the future? There was no Blue Origin or SpaceX in 2007. There was Virgin Galactic was like a whisper.
Right.
And then look where we are. And now AI, moving forward into AI, and it's the exact same thing. Every student that I see nowadays, I let them know. I was just at the coffee shop, Ian, and there was a whole shop filled with girls working behind the counter. And I got to ask them, are you working with AI? And they know me. They've seen me. I'm consistent at the shop, and they want to know more. I said, just visit AI.com and then turn it on and then start asking questions.
Right.
And that's what our job as grown-ups, as like having been through it, because when we were them, we needed someone to do that. Sometimes some magic person walked up to us and said one sentence that changed who we are.
Yeah.
When you started NFT, when you all started NFT NYC, no way was it going to turn into this. No way.
Of course not.
And then look where we are.
It was just a gathering of a bunch of friends, a couple hundred people that were in it. So you mentioned doing what you love with people you love and helping people along the way.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you this before we wrap up. As you know, I like to keep these conversations brief and consumable for all the party people out there. When people come to NFT NYC for the first time this year, because I know that we'll have a large majority of people that are new, right? They just joined the industry, whatever reason, they're coming for the first time. Give everybody advice on, if it's your first time at NFT NYC, how can you operate to receive the most and give the most to the community as you're there?
This is beautiful. I love this question. There's a student I've worked with since she was like 13, maybe even younger, and she's now in college. Her name is Alyssa Carson, and she's astronaut dedicated, right? And so I get to introduce her to younger students now, and she says, well, this awesome thing that, like, she's like, I'm an insider, like, here's the scoop. And so this is for everybody who's showing up at NFT NYC for the first time. Bless you. I would like to remind everyone that Gabe Weiss said last January, if you're here now, this past January, not this January, this is the year, January for last 1 year ago. If you're here now, you're early. If you're here 3 years from now, you're early.
Still going to be early.
Yeah. So we're still 2 years ahead of that. And so
Right.
showing up at NFT NYC early.
Early.
And here's what Alyssa says. Anyone you meet, tell them what you do. Anyone you meet, every single person, tell them what your vision is. Every single person. They don't pay attention to you, no problem. You know what? Two things happen. One is that they may not pay attention to you right now, and then they'll remember it later.
Right.
Takeaway could be that they go home and think about it and Google you. I'll find you or seek you out. Third thing is, it may be somebody who can support you, who sees your vision and said, I want to be part of this. There was a kid, his name is Shit Brains, God bless his 15-year-old self, who walked up to me before I got on stage the very first time you and I met in 2021. And he caught in our jet stream and ghosted all the way up to the stage, and he's 14. And I saw him, I watched him, like the kids don't know we see them. And he was right there. Now he knows everybody. He's 15 and he knows everybody because he showed up. He talked his dad into taking him to NFT NYC because it was what he was about. Now he's into lifestyle. I see him on Twitter and I see he was on stage with Andrew Yang. Like awesome. he's doing the thing. And
Jody Rich introduced me to Andrew Yang, the founder of NFT NYC.
I met him at your.
Yep. Yeah. Well, Mike, you and I could talk indefinite period of time. I'm really excited to spend time with you in a couple of weeks in New York. All of us that are part of the community are grateful for you, your energy, your love, the fact that you do, Mike, what you love with people you love, and you help people along the way. We see it and we celebrate it. And for everybody watching this conversation, I'll be back again with more